Hello and welcome back. For all the Doctor Who stuff in my life, I'm not really what you'd call a full-time Doctor Who dafty, in that I don't have to collect everything and have everything. My Target books are not complete and they're in the wrong order, and the same goes for my Virgin New Adventures and my BBC books. They're spotty and they're just the ones I like. I never collected the figures or the toys or any of that gubbins. I'm not a dafty. I know many dafties and they're very nice, but that Doctor Who dafty I'm not. But I did get this in the post today. It's the, what do they call it? The backup strips collection from Panini. This is volume 1, the complete Doctor Who backup tales. Return of the Daleks. There's a part 2 following in the autumn. Now, these are reprinted from 1979 when I was a kid, and I was first a Doctor Who fan and collecting Doctor Who Weekly. And at the back of each one, there was 2 comic strips. First of all, there was the main strip, and they started collecting these again. And of course, I had to have this last year when they were making such a fuss about the Meep go and read the comic strip. All the strips featuring the fourth Doctor from 79 until whatever 82 or something in here. These are the first couple of years of backup strips which featured the monsters. In this first one, it's the first couple of years, so it's the Daleks in The Return of the Daleks and Absalom Dark, Dalek Killer, and it's Cybermen. Croton the Cyberman in Throwback, the soul of a Cyberman, where he's the one good Cyberman with a soul still. And there's Ogrons and Silurians, and they're very, they're wonderful writers and artists doing these. I can't believe we had them, really, in some ways. These are such sophisticated tales. And every bit of them, as I keep saying about comic strips from my childhood when I'm reunited with them, every bit of them is imprinted on my memory in the hard drive. And I always find that fascinating and amazing how we record these things in our heads forever. And usually, this is Daleks and Cyberman stuff. I'm not the kind of fan that rushes out and buys that stuff either. I always thought they were dopey, to be honest. The Dalek stories and the Cyberman stories, proper kind of fan clickbait. It's what the kind of general fan, the general audience like, those kinds of monsters. But of course, here they were given something different to do because they were the lead characters in these stories. So the Daleks are used in an interesting way. I love that first episode of Return of the Daleks, where it's about a future society that's doing a movie about the history of the Daleks and how they invaded years ago. But of course, in this story, they're real, and it's a kind of sneak invasion, Hollywood style. And then the kind of the Cyberman story, all about the Cyberman who still has emotions. So they've found oblique and interesting takes on these monsters to do in comic strip form. And that's what I love, that they did more sophisticated stories rather than less sophisticated stories when it came to comic strips. Anyway, they come from a wonderful time, I think, in both the history of the show, but also in the history of British comic making. Yep, so very happy to have this in the post. And I was so excited, I was even following the tracking messages on the map from Amazon until it arrived. And I'm looking forward to the second volume as well. Okay, it's absolutely whizzing down now on election day. We're about to pop out and vote, and then to buy some snacks and nibbles and drink for our do round hours on Sunday in the garden, which I hope is going to be dry. Although the weather promises lightning, we are staunchly still going to have a do outside for our friends. In the meantime, I'm going to return to this kind of halcyon age of Daleks and Cybermen. Okay, goodbye, and I'll see you again soon in the next episode. Goodbye.